Hey guys, Mike at the Pop Culture Playhouse, and welcome to the debut episode of Now Playing, a new segment on the channel where I'll be reviewing recently released theatrical films that you guys hopefully haven't seen yet. Sit tight because we're going to take a look at one of my most anticipated releases of the summer of 2014, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay guys, and welcome back to the debut episode of Now Playing. In this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, to really preface this review, you have to know that I am a huge, absolutely huge Ninja Turtles fan. Like many people that grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, the Ninja Turtles were my life. G.I. Joe, He-Man, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and of course Ninja Turtles. They were always the top of the crop, watching the Saturday morning cartoons, owning all the figures, and of course going and, watching all of the live-action movies repetitively. So, at the announcement that they were going to be embarking on a new live-action film, I think Ninja Turtles fans worldwide were really excited to see where they went with it, because, the Ninja Turtles have really been in the public eye lately. The recent Nickelodeon cartoon has been doing incredibly well. It's an incredibly fun and entertaining show. I love that show, and tuning into it, I think that it really pays, great homage to the history of the show, while injecting so many new great things that, fans young and old can really enjoy. So the idea of a live-action show, or a live-action film debuting at the same time with this cartoon was really intriguing, because it had been years and years since we've seen, a live-action film since Ninja Turtles 3, all the way back in '93, because the most recent theatrically released Ninja Turtles film was TMNT back in 2007, which honestly I think is pretty underrated. I enjoyed that film quite a bit. So again, this live-action film has been, the talk of the town for, fans worldwide for a long time. There was a lot of news emerging that was really unfavorable to a lot of people. There were rumors floating that the title of the film was originally going to be simply Ninja Turtles, and there was going to be a whole subplot really changing the origins of the Turtles themselves, really making them aliens of some kind. I just really want to preface this review by stating all of that garbage and junk that you have in your head that is going to kind of make you lean towards hating this film. I want you to just forget about that stuff entirely, because none of that jargon and stuff that had us so worried earlier in the year pays any, mind in this film whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. As far as the plot goes, it's pretty, by the numbers as far as origin tales go. A cloud of danger is looming on, of course, New York City, and the Foot Clan with their master Shredder is really at the heart of it. So these four mutant teenage Ninja Turtles end up kind of becoming vigilantes to the city and bringing down the Foot Clan and Shredder. All along the way, they meet a human character who's played by Megan Fox, of course, April O'Neil, the Channel 6 news reporter. They befriend her, and they kind of form, this really tight friendship, and along with April, the Turtles do their best to kind of restore balance to New York City. So of course, we've heard that story a million times and whatnot, so this is a real kind of rebooting and jump start to the franchise. Jonathan Liebesman is the director at the helm of this, and once he got announced for the project originally, I was kind of lukewarm about it. Not to say that Jonathan Liebesman by any means is a bad director. I've just always kind of seen him as more of like a gun-for-hire type stuff. A lot of his films have been, kind of underwhelming. He's been responsible for things like Darkness Falls, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, and Wrath of the Titans. All films that, are definitely very well competently made, but I just didn't really feel like there was any real distinct style to him. He was really just attracting himself with, already established franchises without really injecting so much. So that's really where, he's like a gun for hire. There wasn't really anything, in particular that stood him out as, oh wow, that's a great first step, in making a great Ninja Turtles film. So, going into this film, I had that in my mind, of course, all of the bad stuff or, unfavorable things that we were reading about this film, and I have to say, I was absolutely 100% blown away by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It might be a little too bold to say this, but I absolutely and confidently feel that it is the best Ninja Turtles film to date. And that's coming from a huge Ninja Turtles fan that, you know, the 1990 original film is like the gospel to me. I absolutely adore that movie, the dark, brooding nature of that movie, the time period, the music, everything about that film, you know, speaks really true to me because it was such a big part of my childhood. And of course, nostalgia plays a lot into that. But this new film, I was kind of expecting it, or at least hoping it to be good, at the very worst, mediocre. I was really hoping this was not going to be an awful film, so I really had, you know, my reservations and stuff, but this blew my expectations away entirely. You know, I think they just got the tone of it really well. The character designs, which was another thing that kind of had me a little off-put, that this really, you know, brooding, you know, bulkish, hulkish nature of them. You know, the turtles are much larger this time around. Their shells are really big. I was kind of put off by the character design on that, but once I saw them in full motion and, you know, seeing the personalities and the characters really bring themselves to life, you know, outside of just, you know, a few clips here or a few clips there in trailer form, I was really won over by the design. I really like where they took the Turtles physically, and I just think that it works so well in the context of the story. Now, the human characters, which of course make up, you know, a prominent part of the runtime, you have Megan Fox playing April O'Neil, which I know a lot of people weren't really too thrilled that she landed the part, especially since, you know, she was just so well linked to Michael Bay's Transformers films, but surprisingly, I think that she was actually pretty decent. I definitely was in the majority who didn't really think that she was going to do anything that special, but you know what? I really reminded myself, you know, in regards to the original films, about how we were holding our idea of like the original Aprils in such high esteem. Those actresses and those roles aren't really that memorable or that good. It's really just nostalgia, you know, kind of sucking us dry and beating us over the head with it. There wasn't really anything memorable about those actresses' performances that made them, oh, like Megan Fox is never gonna, you know, attain, you know, the greatness that those things were. Megan Fox is pretty decent in it. I think that she has some... She kind of stumbles early on in the film, but as she kind of, you know, develops her friendship and befriends the Turtles, I really started to enjoy her performance more and more, so much that by the conclusion, I was really won over entirely by her April O'Neil performance. In addition, you have Will Arnett, who plays Vern. He's like Megan Fox's cameraman for the Channel 6 News. He's always hilarious, and the chemistry between them is great. He's just an incredibly funny comedian, so he brought something really refreshing to the humor in this film. In addition, you have somebody surprising like Whoopi Goldberg, who plays Megan Fox's boss at Channel 6 News, and you have the great William Fichtner, who plays a villainous character in it, who's aiding the Shredder and the Foot Clan. He's great in it. He was really great just last year in Disney's The Lone Ranger, and he's kind of back in a similar kind of role in that one. I don't want to reveal too much about how he's linked with, you know, the elements of the plot, and I want you guys to experience that yourself. The characters all have their you know, always reliable personalities really well intact. I think that they nailed the tone and how these characters act and operate so well. They are absolutely hilarious. I mean, I lost track at how many times I was cracking up in the theater, and it wasn't just Michelangelo, who we all know is really the goofball of the group. There was just so much innate humor amongst all four of them that it really brought it home, and I was just won over by it. I thought that they nailed the personalities and the humor entirely. Just really great stuff. The action sequences, another incredible thing to talk about. Each action sequence, while in a film like this you would think that maybe as time went on, and especially with all the hoopla with special effects and CG these days, that you kind of get desensitized and kind of get, you know, you kind of feel like you're seeing the same thing over and over again. Not the case in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In fact, every action or fight sequence was better than the last. I mean, it just keeps building and building and building, that by the finale, it is just an awesome, you know, fight choreography and massive destruction going on around them. I just couldn't believe just how much fun everything, you know, just all of, you know, the action, spectacle, and fighting was in this film. It was really incredible stuff to be seen. This film is actually being released in 2D and 3D, and I know with the, you know, ever-increasing prices of 3D, people are always wondering, is it really worth spending the extra money to see it in 3D? Now, I always do that. I always do see films in 3D, because if you don't have a 3D 3D TV. I do, but, you know, some people that don't have that, if a film gets out, you know, it gets put out in 3D, and the only time that you may ever see it in 3D might be in the theaters, I would totally suggest just spending the extra money and seeing it in 3D. But in the case of Ninja Turtles, I highly recommend seeing it in 3D. There's so much great, there's a lot of great depth and scope in this one, not only in just the action sequences, in particular, there's a really great scene that you kind of get clips of in the trailer where the Turtles are kind of coming down this snowy, steep hill on a truck, and they're kind of swinging each other. That scene looks particularly incredible in 3D. And, you know, it's just things like that, where, like, really high-octane action sequences where they're jumping all around, and the 3D is really made to great effect. And then, in addition, there's a lot of great 3D gags that are really funny, one involving a pizza slice that's just, like, literally coming at you on the screen. So I really like that they hammed it up a little bit, knowing that this was going to be converted into 3D. So I would definitely recommend spending the extra money seeing this in 3D, because I had such a fun time with that added third dimension. So overall, guys, I went in there with kind of, you know, mediocre expectations. It's a Ninja Turtles movie, so it goes without saying that I would be seeing this on release day, but I was absolutely blown away at just how much I liked it. It might be a little too bold to say that this is the best Ninja Turtles movie to date, but I'm going to go on record and confidently say that I do believe that. I do think that 2014's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the best Ninja Turtles film to date, but just to keep a little expectations at bay, I'm going to give this an overall rating of 4.5 out of 5. Just really solid stuff, great action sequences, great humor, terrific human characters, and just an awesome use of the 3D format. So all around, absolutely impressed, blew my expectations away. So, of course, if you grew up with the Ninja Turtles growing up, new films or, you know, any new live action films or cartoons are always going to gain your attention and your curiosity. So, in the case of this year's, you know, reboot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, highly recommended, just absolutely fantastic. So, it's definitely going to go down as one of my favorite films this summer, and again, it's my favorite Ninja Turtles movie to date. So, if you guys are interested and found this review helpful, definitely check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's playing now.